My gripe with Hollywood, I'm accused in these talk shows of being an apologist for Hollywood, a kind of a company man, and I kind of am. I think the entertainment business is America's greatest business. It's certainly the biggest employer in the biggest state. It is the biggest export and the most generous contributor favorably to the balance of trade and so on. So I also think great work is done. And in fact, if you look now at, when I say Hollywood, I mean the whole filmed entertainment scene. When I say film, I also mean digital media. There's never been more stuff available than now. And the greatest stuff, we can't keep up with it. There's so much good stuff that's out there. My gripe with Hollywood is the lack of originality. They just don't want to do anything original, certainly not theatrically, not in the feature length. Everything's a sequel, a prequel, a remake, a reboot, a chapter in a franchise. There's so little originality. Now, when you are doing an adaptation, the question arises, what do you owe the original material? Since everything's based on original material, it's not original material, the movie, but based on other material that is original. What do you owe that original material? For example, if you're adapting a book to the screen, what do you owe the book? My teacher, the legendary and late Irwin R. Blacker, who also taught Lucas and John Milius and Bob Zemeckis and on and on and on and on and on. He used to make us answer that question. He'd say, what do you owe the original material? And it was a one-word answer, and everybody had to answer in unison: nothing. What you owe is a really good movie to the audience. If a book really works well, a novel works well. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, I read this novel and I just see it as a movie. I'm just dying to write it as a movie. Well, there's a million reasons not to do that, but the two glaring reasons are, first of all, the rights issue. You don't have the rights to that. And even if you could option the rights, they'll run out. There will be what lawyers call encumbrances and entanglements, complications. I mean, a writer can do the one thing that nobody can do. Director can't do it. Producer can't do it. Actors can't do it. Cinematographers, editors, they can't do it. Only the writer can do it, and that is from nothing create something that belongs entirely to her, that she can negotiate with and bargain with and maybe sell. And a lot of writers don't understand that the screenplay that does not sell, that's not the end, it's just the beginning. All kinds of rewards can accrue from the screenplay that does not sell. The other issue is that if it really, really impressed you as a novel, that's probably its form. It's almost inevitably going to be a disappointment when it's turned into plastic, that is to say, stuff on the screen, objects, people, whoever the actor is playing, whomever the role in the novel was, is not going to be the way most people saw him, and so on. It's just going to be disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. This is why I have argued for years that those novels that do get made into good movies are usually not great novels. Do you know anybody who's ever read The Graduate? Even The Godfather is not really admired so much as literature as it is film. It's interesting that Francis was down on his luck when he made that movie. Had made these artsy movies, but needed to have a hit, so he kind of like stooped to do The Godfather. And when he stopped trying to make great movies, he made one of the greatest movies in all of history. As soon as he stopped trying, the fact of the matter is, it's that really great books that work great as books generally don't work as movies. I think one of the best books I've ever read was Frank McCourt's big best-selling memoir, Angela's Ashes. I mean, I just wanted to throw away my word processor, and I mean, this guy's a real writer, I'm just a typist. The movie, nobody remembers the movie. It was gorgeous cinematography, but disappointing, 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 which is really what it had to be. I believe Catch-22 is a breakthrough novel that is timeless and eternal. But it's a really lame movie. It just doesn't really engage. Portnoy's Complaint was one of the great novels of the last, certainly half century, I would say century. Anybody see the movie? Anybody? Richard Benjamin playing the Roth character in that movie. No, if something really works in a particular form, that's the form that it was meant to be in. It's funny, I'll say a last thing about this. It's been suggested by others, and I think it's so true, that more writers have been ruined by creative writing teachers who said to them, you write so visually, your writing is just so descriptive and so visual, you should really be writing film. But film is the least visual of all forms of writing. For example, here's a description in a screenplay of a waterfall. Here it is. Waterfall. You're not going to go into the way the light plays on the foam and the spray, the way it trickles down the granite rock face, the way it foams and bubbles at the on and on and on. You could go on and on and on with that. That is, if you do that in a screenplay, it's like neon flashing, amateur, amateur, amateur.